And we should be good to go.
Okay, I would like to call the Corcoran Parks and Trails Commission meeting of May 20th, 2021 to order. Roll call. Meister here. Anderson.
Present.
Christensen.
Here.
Hoffman.
Here.
Nybo's not here yet. And Streller.
Here.
Okay, pledge allegiance. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, not bad.
Oh, it feels really awkward having everybody watch my stomach while I do this.
That's why I don't stand.
It fills the screen really
I
well.
put the papers there. I put the paper.
Not my best feature.
Okay. Okay, is there anyone who would like to amend the agenda this evening?
No.
If
And Chair
not,
Meister, just a heads up,
yes.
Val is joining as we speak.
Okay. All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
okay, roll call vote. Anderson,
Aye.
Christensen,
Aye.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Meister, aye. Nybo, are you here yet? No, not quite. And Streller.
Aye.
Okay. Minutes of the April 15th meeting. Are there any questions or comments? Or clarifications? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the April 15th meeting minutes.
Motion.
Second,
I second.
okay, roll call. Anderson,
Aye.
Christensen,
Aye.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Meister, aye. Streller,
Aye.
okay.
Is John not coming tonight? You've been not calling Dugan.
I don't see him here.
Okay.
I haven't heard
I don't know.
anything, and
I can text him.
and I'm also trying to let Val in, but it just says joining. So
Okay,
I'm just texting John right now.
Good idea.
Oh, Val just texted me. She says, if you're on the meeting, tell him my computer's just spinning over here, but I'm trying.
Corcoran, the desert technology. Okay, Jessica, is there anyone here for open forum?
yes, we've got Catherine Drivas. If you want, I can unmute her. She raised her hand.
Okay,
All right, the floor is yours.
Thank you. When I was reading through the agenda tonight, and you were talking about Bellwether and its parks, it made me wonder if you have plans to promote the parks that are open to the public in Corcoran. And the other thing that brought that to mind is I'm on a Facebook group, What's Happening in Corcoran, and people don't seem to realize that Wildflower Park is a Corcoran City Park. And I didn't know that the trail around or off of Bass Lake Crossing, that development is a city trail. And so I'm just curious if you have plans to promote those things with summer coming along. You know, because there are some neighborhoods like mine, I'm in Old Sturbridge. I guess I didn't get my address, 6747 Old Sturbridge Drive. You know, like our neighborhood, the street is the park and the woods is the park. But, there's no play equipment in our park. And so I was just wondering if there are plans to promote that. And that was my only comment. And it was just sparked by reading the agenda and then reading this, what's happening in Corcoran. So thank you.
Would anyone like to address that?
I think I'd like to thank Catherine. That's a wonderful observation. This parks like Wildflower Park is not really visible from the highway. If you don't live in the development, you don't see it every day, but it is absolutely a public park and the public's invited. There's parking there on street, but it's there. And the same with our trails. So I think she's raised a really great point.
I agree.
Yeah.
Do you think we could
How are
address it through the newsletter and maybe through the website? Would that be a good way to do that?
We do have it listed on the website. And when the park did open, it did go through the newsletter because I was the one who did the article on that. We posted a little bit on Facebook and Twitter a few times, but I could probably run it through again if Brad and Jess are okay with that.
Go out and take some new photos maybe
Mm-hmm.
of anything
Just
that's
spare
been
time.
added.
How are the food trucks doing there? Does anybody know?
I didn't know there was food trucks.
I
there.
forgot about that.
There's a full menu of food trucks there.
At which park?
Wildflower.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think tonight is maybe Mexican.
That's a good way to promote it.
That's not actually through
Ooh.
the city, though. I will note
Yeah,
that
I
I
know.
think is through their homeowners association. So
It's
I don't know
true.
that we will be posting about that on the city pages, but
Right.
That's what I wondered I mean, that is okay though, right?
As far as what, Judy?
Of having, food trucks come in. It doesn't have to be okayed by us or anything, right? By the city?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Probably a topic for another day, but it's a good question.
I mean, I just wondered. I mean, I got the menu. I mean, I got the thing, I got the menu for it and I saw it and I think it's a really great idea for them, but it just kind of puts it out there like our sunbathers on the roof,
How did you get that, Judy?
I don't remember if it was in, let me look and see if I can see if it was what's happening in Corcoran.
Well, I would have gotten it then, because I have that.
Well, right now it's the rural local food truck from 5 to 7 at Wildflower Park.
I feel like there was somebody at our meeting that told us about it. but-
Somebody put an agenda on somewhere and I don't remember where, because I just assumed we had always.
Okay, well, Jessica, I would like to go out and take pictures if you need them.
if you want to take photos, you are more than welcome to and send them my way. Otherwise,
them to you?
I do have quite a few from when the park was built too.
Okay. I'll
Yeah,
see if
what-
there's,
I just have one quick suggestion, which is that what might be nice, I don't know if we have like a social media schedule or something in terms of timing of when we tweet or post or whatever it is. But this might be something where every spring we just say, hey, come visit our parks and we have the list and it links to the website or whatever it is. And then it goes out in the spring newsletter every year. We could have a little spot there. Because people are always moving in and out, and I doubt many of them go directly to the website to look and say, where are those parks that I can go to? So
Okay, I found it.
one suggestion.
I found the May and June and July agenda for food. It is on what's happening in Corcoran. And the lady that's putting it on is a Lizzie. It's under MINNI Minihan. And they've got things scheduled every night. I mean, well, at least once a week or twice a week. I don't know if how I would send this because it's not shareable if you're not in the group. I'll try Oh, shit. Snapshot it. Can I send it to you, Jess?
What do you want me to do with it afterwards?
Well, I just want you to see it.
Oh, no, I've seen it.
Okay.
Yep,
know
I'm
it
part of the
already.
group. Yep.
All right. Then never
Yep.
mind. You've already
And
seen it.
Brad just sent out an email about it too. Mayor McKee would like to speak as well.
Okay, Mayor, you have the floor.
Hey, thank you. Just on the food truck thing, I know Lizzie. I could have her send out any future info on that to whoever's interested. If you want to shoot me an email, I can make sure it gets your way.
Sounds good.
Thanks.
Okay, is there anyone else for open forum, Jess?
If anyone else is interested in speaking, if you want to raise your hand on Zoom, otherwise *9.
Okay, it looks like there's nobody else. Okay, on to presentations. There are none. And unfinished business, there's none of that either. And item number 8, new business, rezoning, preliminary plat and PUD application for Amberley and Bellwether.
Yes, so give me 1 second to pull up the PowerPoint. Everyone can see it?
Yes.
Perfect.
You guys hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
we can't see you
well,
though.
Okay, that's a start. Okay, carry on. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Amberley and Bellwether. Here's your guys' natural resources map. It's located here. The addition is. Otherwise, it is here as well on the comp plan. And as you can see, it's got the neighborhood park and open space park as part of your guys' 2040 Parks and Trails comp plan. So a little background, Bellwether was approved in 2018 as part of the Schober property was included in that original development. There were five phases that have final plat approval. The 6th edition off of Hunter Lane does have final approval, and this would be adding the Schober homestead and the Van Blaricom parcels with this project. So that's 192 new homes included in that. This is the 2018 site plan. So this is all pre-approved. This is the portion that we are talking about right here. And then this is the Schober portion, or the Schober homestead portion. As you can see, we've got the park kind of here, and I'll have a better diagram for you guys to take a look at. Can you see my mouse too on the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this would be the park area with a trail. Obviously, the soccer field and whatever else is in here isn't necessarily, that's what has to be put in there, but it's just giving you an idea. We've also got a trail that's going behind some of the homes. It's an off-road trail, and then it connects on-road right here, and it goes and connects to here. There would not be any parking, but we'll get to all of that, but just so that you guys can kind of see the gist of it as we continue on this presentation. So this is a little easier to see in my opinion. This is the Van Blaricom park dedication area that we're talking about today. Please do note this little tiny piece over here as well, because I'll be making a little note on that. This is the area that was already dedicated, this pink, and then this is your open space park in blue, and the amenity center in Bellwether. Any questions so far? We're following?
Yep.
Perfect. So like I said, there's a public off-road trail. It connects to Stieg Road, which is right up here. It is on-road for a portion of it, the portion nearest to the park, like I had shown earlier. Just a reminder, the city does require an 8-foot trail with a 20-foot easement. Three Rivers asks for a 10-foot trail with a 20-foot easement, and the trail has to be moved outside of the wetland buffer. At this time, there is no parking shown, and there isn't enough room for like a bump out or anything of that nature. So staff is suggesting maybe 15 to 20 parking stalls. Brad and I did the math a little bit on that. We did 16 parking stalls and it was approximately 1 acre. So we're looking for a recommendation on that if you guys would like to see kind of a parking lot in there, so that there is that option. But keeping in mind, it would be about 1 acre of lost parkland with that. But it would still be part of park dedication if I remember correctly, and I would have Brad say no otherwise. Comp plan, it generally plans for 5 to 20 acres for neighborhood park. With the proposed dedication park would be about 10 acres. Community parks are generally 20 to 100 acres, which seems like a very wide range, but I mean, it's dependent on what is in there. With the proposed dedication, the park would be about 12 acres. Park dedication required is 15% of the net pre-development area for the park. So this would be 10.3 net acres or cash in lieu. The plan shows 6.81 acres of park plus 0.96 acres of trail, so almost 1 acre worth of trail. The park dedication as proposed with this project would be 7.7 net acres of park, and then approximately $249,000 worth of cash. The big question is going to be, is that enough acreage of land for a community park in your guys' opinion? So at this point, we're looking for recommendations regarding if you want to accept the combination of land and cash or require full dedication and land. If you want to require a parking lot be shown in the park and accept the trail easement as shown. And actually, I don't think this included the portion about the trail easement or the trail as well. So let me back up a little bit. On the map, it shows that there is a trail, an on-road trail that goes from here down to this intersection, and then it crosses over, and then it comes onto this side. Staff is suggesting that it goes on both sides. So through here on the left, and then through here on the right as well. So with that, I would be happy to take any questions or also punt to Brad if I can't answer them. So if anyone has any questions, I'm going to stop sharing the screen, but if there is something you guys want to see again, please don't hesitate to let me know.
Here, just so you know as well, there are 2 individuals from the development group here, Paul Hoyer and Dean Lauder, are with Pulte.
Can you go to the big map as to where the whole park layout with all the houses around it, or you know what I mean?
Is this the one you're looking for?
Yeah.
I like the color one. I think it's a little easier to see. And if that's not big enough, I can pull it up on the PDF and then zoom in.
So how would others in our community that aren't in that development access this park?
So that's where the parking lot would come into play. Like I said, so 16 stalls would be about 1 acre's worth of the land.
And where would we
Well,
put it? I'm sorry, Brad.
No, I was going to add on to that. So as far as other access, it'd be from Stieg Road to the north, from 101 to the east. And actually, this would also be accessed from 116 through Hunter's Ridge from 116.
Yeah. So say people from the north that maybe live, I don't know what's north of that, Jackie Lane or something like that, right up there, might want to walk to the park. They would head in.
There'd be an intersection right at Robert Lane, which is the north-south road from the Jackie Robert neighborhood. So essentially they would cross Stieg at that location, and there'd be sidewalks through this development.
Okay. And some parking has been allocated, like on street parking or something. Did I read that in there?
All of our developments on the local roads allow parking on one side of the street.
Oh,
So
okay.
certainly that would be there. We would want to have off-street parking as well, which is what Jess talked about, having a parking stall, whether it's 5, 10, or 15 stalls, that's to be determined, but we'd have something off-street as well.
Mm-hmm. And do you guys have any ideas where you're thinking on that parking?
Not many. So we'd have to do some math and just kind of think overall. There are a couple parking stalls in the neighborhood from the south end of the park and the open space park too, but those are pretty private. So most people wouldn't know about those without just advertising. So like Jess said, we just assumed, call it 16 stalls and what that size would be.
Just have to figure out where it could go.
Correct.
Would 16 stalls be a little bit of overkill for a park this size?
Potentially. It isn't a larger park with open space amenities. So potentially, I think that would be probably a worst case scenario for size. We were just trying to answer the question we would assume you'd have would be how much acreage would a parking lot take up, which is where he came up with a shy of 1.
Okay.
Jess, were you gonna say something about that little green piece in the corner?
Yes, thank you for the reminder. So this little green piece, as you can see, this is a wetland right here. So it's just kind of disconnected. So when talking with Kendra and Brad, I kind of said, do we really want that little piece? I mean, from a maintenance perspective, it's just an additional maintenance spot when you really can't access it and it's just kind of off the beaten path. So that's just something to consider if that's something you guys actually want as part of park dedication.
Yeah, do we know a size on it?
Brad, what did we say? A little less than,
That'd be a total guess. Paul or Dean, do you have any idea? It looks like the size of an average lot in that area. If it's okay, Chairmeister, they could probably answer that question better than I could.
Okay, sure.
Yes, this is Paul Hoyer. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening, folks. Nice to be here with you. You know, just a guess here. It looks like it's just smaller than a lot. So I would say something around the area of 0.2 acres, plus or minus.
1 to 2 acres?
No,
0.2.
0.2 acres.
Oh, 0.2. Okay. So we probably can't fit our parking lot there.
That's wetland anyway.
So there's really no reason to accept that piece as park,
No.
in my mind.
I would agree.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I concur.
Okay.
I'm trying to look at this as a piece, both the neighborhood park and the public open space park. I mean, they're adjacent. I think that, you know, they have different topography. The open space park is heavily wooded, and the neighborhood park won't be, but they will be both accessed. Well, but they're just adjacent to each other, and you know that there was a piece that came out in the packet. There was the concept plan from 2018 that had do you have one that shows the boardwalk? Yeah. So and if you can you zoom in on that a little bit, Jessica?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, it's
I
there
stand
we go.
corrected.
Oh, nice.
Yay.
Yeah. So if we look at that whole park, we've got a trail that goes from a public trail that goes from the private amenity center across the wetland into the woods, and then around to the park, to the neighborhood park. And my sense, and then is that because that open space park abuts that large wetland, and that at certain times of the year, there's going to be a fair number of people. I mean, kids will always be there, right? Because it's a place to ride your bike and all that stuff, do what kids do. But now, as in bird migration time, that will be a spot that will hold a lot of birds, which means it will hold a lot of birders. And there is around the smaller wetland to the south and west, there is a trail through there. So I just think that that's gonna generate some traffic sort of seasonally. And so I think that it is in fact, I think, important to have some parking. And the space that's available right now is in this neighborhood park, and I think that's fine. It feels like the neighborhood park is pretty small. I hate to use any of it for parking. I would just like to see that the developer make that park a little bigger and find a way to put some parking in there. It could be, there's kind of a keyhole to get into the park there. There are some lots sort of missing on the road, and just enlarge that a little bit. There'd be 1 or 2 lots that would be, or I don't know, a couple lots at least that would disappear somehow to figure out how to get 15 or 16 parking spots in there, and make it work. The park looks better when you look at it as a whole, with the part that we got, that the city got from the previous development, previous section, and then adding this new section. It's relatively rectangular. I mean, it is of a piece. It's not strung out long and narrow. It's usable space, other than the water tower and the pumping station. And can somebody provide me with a little more information about just exactly where that is, and the road that they've got, road that's sketched in there, and the emergency vehicle access has to do with that?
I'm gonna punt to Brad on that one, or the developers.
Do we have an image that shows those like locations kind of handy? I will say that we're still planning this quite a bit. So
Okay.
for example, next week at the council meeting, we're talking about water supply planning. And at that point, it's really developing the finance plan and kind of selecting what's going on. This is one of several potential water tower sites. It's the most affordable because it'd be dedicated land of the city, so we wouldn't have to purchase it. So it's probably the most likely. I don't know if we have any information regarding on a well house, but we'll need several different wells in each of the districts in Corcoran to handle the water capacity needs for the city. So it's to be determined, but I think maybe Paul knows, or Dean, as far as those sizes on the images, did we give those to you, Paul, or were those your estimates?
Yeah, this is Paul. So if you zoom in there, Jessica, a little bit closer, you'll see a couple of different shapes. You'll see a circle and a square right where your hand was. Yeah, right there.
And it won't actually let me zoom in any further, so I'm sorry,
That's
but
fine.
circle, square.
You got it. So the circle area is identified as the size that the city staff told us you need for a well site. And the square is the one for the tower. We just placed them here next to each other, knowing you have to have some kind of an access road in that we always assumed would be shared with your parking access as well. So, you can place these where you want. There are some limitations. For instance, the well can't be within, I think, 50 feet of a sewer line. And also you don't want to have the water tower casting shadows on the homes and things like that. So there's a number of considerations you want to have, but these seem to be logical first step locations that we put together, but your staff will ultimately make that decision and hopefully work with us so that it's mutually agreeable.
Thanks, Paul.
And I
So
certainly
does
would like, go ahead.
No, I was to say, so it does get tight. However, having those infrastructure pieces in parks, around parks is not unique. I used to drive past Delano on a regular basis, for example, as you head out of town. They have a water tower at one of the neighborhood parks. So it's not uncommon, but it does take up space.
Could we fit the parking lot just to the west of that? In that little, yeah, right there. How big is that?
I guess, you know, we can do anything we have to design. I'd probably hesitate on having a parking lot behind somebody's house and have to drive. The more you drive into the park, the less usable land you have. But that's something that the city will have to design. You know, as Paul mentioned, we've asked them to kind of do a best guess, and they've done a wonderful job at that on providing how that infrastructure could take place. But that's really our decision. We definitely do have to think about shadow casting from the tower and impacting homes. So that does limit proximity.
And since we have this map up, there's a little road that runs from the park you go down that road, Jessica, and then you make a left turn there and go up that road. Is that a public road? Or I read something about it being an emergency access road.
This is Paul again. So I think that was intended to be a trail that may act as an emergency access road, and the one coming from the west, from the left, is really intended to be the real access drive to the well, the tower, and any parking.
Okay, but would it be on a normal day? Would it be like chained off so that it's clearly not a road that the public is invited to drive on?
No, usually what we hear from other parks districts is they don't like to have things chained off.
Okay.
We get more in trouble by putting up bollards and things like that we used to try years ago. Nowadays, it's a trail, and somebody might drive on it once every 20 years, but no big problem.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So if the park was made a little bigger, obviously we could get a few more parking spots in, right, Tom?
Well, one would think, yeah, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But where are you gonna put 'em?
Okay, so any other comments or questions? All right, I'd like to read a recommended motion by staff. Move to recommend approval of land dedication for the planned off-road trail easement and cash in lieu of land fee for the remaining park dedication.
And with that, there was also the minor adjustment of that one small piece here. If that's something you guys wanted to include in your recommendation, that's your call.
Whether to accept that as part of the land or not. So.
Well, I personally would like to see the park to be a little bigger. And then with some parking. That's my thought on it.
It does kind of seem like we'd be squeezing everything in. But it's hard to tell, I guess.
Yeah.
With just the picture. If we get the lot in there, how it's kind of currently set up, that's probably fine. But we don't want to get rid of like the field or anything just to put a parking lot.
No,
But what didn't you show, Jessica, the averages for sizes for that size of a development? It wasn't like 15 to 20 acres or something?
For
It was in the beginning.
That was the open space park though.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're getting there.
So neighborhood park is 5 to 20 acres. Is that what you're talking about? And then
Yeah.
the community park being 20 to 100.
Okay. Yeah, the 5 to 20, yep.
And the community park is the same functionally as an open space park. I think that's
what they're getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lump them kind of together. There's a couple different styles of community.
Okay.
So this is really like a mid-size park, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How many acres is the Wildflower Park? I know that's pretty small, but
I want to say 5 or 6. Brad, does that sound right?
Well, let me look it up here quickly.
I thought it was in the packet somewhere.
It could
Or
be. It's
Kendra had
deceiving-
mentioned it.
It's deceivingly big, however, the usable portion is fairly small. So as far as the park itself, it's 5 acres. However, if you look at usable space, it's quite a bit smaller than that.
Mhm.
5.13 acres.
Because part of it's caught between, is in people's backyards in a fairly narrow peninsula, right? Is that?
Correct. So I would say usable is probably, hold on. About, 2 to 3 acres usable, but
Yeah.
all that has is a playground.
Yeah, right. So you don't need like a lot there, but in this case, if we have 10 acres, yeah, a lot might, I think, make sense. But we should also be able to fit it in there, I would imagine. With 10 usable acres.
Well, the 10 usable acres is in the open space park.
Oh, I thought that was the additional acreage. Can we go back to that one slide with that shows the,
You were just there, Jessica.
oh, so the 12 acres includes the 10 acres?
Jessica, you can go to the map that has the green and the pink on it. We like those colors. Okay, so the green area, how big is that green area? So, anybody?
So I think that's the 10 acres. And then the blue is 12.
So
Hmm,
this is Paul. So the net acres of the green is 5.91, and that includes, that excludes the parts of the green that are identified for water. So that's purely the park area net of the acres, net of the wetlands.
So the green area is the green area? Because the gray is wetland, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the net of the green is 5 point something?
Well, it's confusing because the green includes the circle and the square, which are water, and those are not included in the 5.91 acres. I verified that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So that's a little confusing. My apologies.
Right.
And then you'd also be taking off this portion if you
Right.
guys choose to do that as well.
yeah. Oh, and then the pink area next to it, which was from the previous stage, that puts the total up to about 10, is that,
Yeah, that's right.
okay.
The 7, wasn't it 7.7?
About,
Yeah.
about 9, the 5.91 acres plus the 3.1 acres identified under the pink there.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then the blue area there, Jessica, is the open space park?
Mhm.
Or is that right?
Correct.
So I
Okay.
see it.
And yeah, and how big is that?
I can't read it. The font is too small.
I can read it. It's 9.51 acres, and that's a net again without.
That's the net again, yeah.
So
I mean,
there's-
that will feel like a much bigger park because it's completely surrounded by wetlands.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
I guess if it's helpful, one thing I'm hearing is that it sounds like it could work with as proposed, as long as there could be showing a parking lot that would be sufficient and not intrude into the overall space. Is that a fair kind of
Yes.
assessment?
Yeah.
Yes.
But
So I mean, if there's kind of, it's gray, it's subjective until you see items. It could be, some sort of recommendation to, recommend as shown, less the exception piece, provided that staff can prove there is sufficient space for a parking lot. And if not, then acquire sufficient additional space to do that. I know that's a hard motion to write, but that's kind of what I'm hearing from you all.
yeah,
And does it have to be 16? Can it be 8? Or are you basing this on the size of the land?
That's a great question, and the answer is no. And I guess that's what needs to be vetted out. If we feel that 8 is good enough, then we would show that, and I think it would be okay. If
Yeah,
Lizzie figure we
I think 16 is excessive.
Yeah, my
I
mind
mean-
kind of went to 10 type of thing.
Yeah, I think that, you know, the likelihood of having the need for 16 parking spots there is very slim. When you have all of those neighborhoods around there, people are gonna be walking to those parks more than people are gonna be driving to them.
Yeah, and one thing we do with developments, oftentimes is show proof of parking. So maybe you start with a smaller stall, but also show how it could be expanded if need be. We call that
Yes.
proof of parking.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm not sure if anyone wrote down what Brad said, but that sounds like a good motion.
Okay, Phil, you wanna go for it?
Otherwise, Jess probably has it too.
Okay,
We
so it's
recorded
pretty
it.
much what Brad said, but we want to add parking, assuming that they can fit it in the current size of the land.
So
Correct.
if-
And
So if not though, because some of that park dedication cash, we could do more land there, correct?
Right.
In lieu of the cash and get the parking in there.
right,
Yeah, so if they can't show us a good way to do it with this, then I think we just need more land.
well, especially if we're gonna do less parking to start with,
Mm-hmm.
instead of doing 16, you know, do 8. I mean, I very rarely do go to a park and the parking slots are actually full.
So
Was that
Phil,
enough?
were you making the motion then?
Yeah, I can certainly make it.
Good.
I can certainly try that. So what is the official, what are we trying to say first? Like, are we just
What's
saying,
the
yes, we
motion you
need
wanna make?
parking?
Would you like me to try again to outline
Sure.
thoughts?
That would be
Brad,
great.
Brad, this is Paul. Can I make a comment here for you?
Mm-hmm.
It's important that decisions are made, you know, now or soon, because later it becomes hard to sell your land. You know, once we put utilities in and have finished lots and all that money's been put into the land. So these sorts of things are working best when you kind of make a decision early on so that we can plan accordingly. And we're happy to give you whatever amount of land you think works here. We just need some direction here soon so that we can, you know, move forward and have some confidence that what we're working on is actually going to work for both parties.
Yeah, and Paul, I guess I didn't really clarify next steps. What I would envision is our team jumping on this and showing kind of how it could work and to see how space looks, you know, well in advance of the planning commission discussion. So we're not talking about something that would be future down the road. We would vet this out over the next month and meet the intent of the Parks and Trails Commission.
Thank you for that clarification.
So I guess with that, what I'm hearing is just a draft motion, I guess, here to recommend park dedication of a mixture of land and cash with the removal of the exception piece as recommended or as presented with that one change with the confirmation of proof of parking. And if proof of parking is not sufficient to require additional land to make that parking work.
What about the sidewalk on the other side of the street up in that little curve? Did we talk about that?
Thank you, Val.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where are we talking about?
Watch your cursor. It's going there.
I'm watching.
Right.
Okay, so it shows on-road trail going down here. The recommendation is to have it continue down on both sides instead of just on this west side.
Just to clarify that, so this is somewhat semantics, but actually be sidewalks. So there's sidewalk on the one side. We want the sidewalk to continue down to the park. We would keep the bituminous trail on the other side. So it'd be a paved, bituminous paved or tar trail on the one side, and then a sidewalk continuing on the other side.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so would anyone like to make the motion?
For that little chunk? Or for the
For
whole
the,
thing?
the whole
Do we have to
thing?
do this all at once or can we
The
do?
whole enchilada.
Do
What's
whatever
that?
you want.
What would you recommend, Brad and Jessica? 2 or 1 motion?
Either or, I think if you incorporated the sidewalk change with the previous item I discussed, Jessica can put that all together and, you know, in one motion.
Okay. All right. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion to make a motion to recommend the plan as presented with the removal of the exception in that corner lot. If we get proof of parking, which if it's not sufficient, we would recommend that we accept more land to make it work.
You're doing good. Keep going, Phil.
And we'd also like to accept the additional trail on the other side of the road.
I
Awesome.
second.
Mhm.
Okay,
Alicia,
Well-
did you second?
Yep.
you did.
Nice job.
Okay, roll call vote. Anderson,
Aye.
Christensen,
Aye.
Hoffman,
Aye.
Meister is aye, Nybo,
Aye.
and Streller.
Aye.
Okay, the motion has been approved.
Good job, Phil.
Okay, nice job, Phil. That was very well
Phil.
worded.
Somebody wanted to do it.
If you need clarification, let me know.
Okay, we'll be calling you tonight.
So before we go on, can we leave this screen up a bit?
Mhm.
And is your zoom in again on that, Jessica, like you were just a minute ago? You know, I'm
Was it
I'm
the
just
screen?
yeah, that's perfect. This is, as I looked at that today, getting ready for the meeting, I'm feeling sort of unsatisfied with this. and this isn't, it's certainly not the developer's fault nor our fault. I mean, I come from Minneapolis where blocks are square and you can see the park from the street, you know, and a neighborhood park is like, you know, 2 city blocks or 4 city blocks, depending on the neighborhood. And here we've got a parkland which does not hardly touch a street at all. What it runs through is people's backyards.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure if that's good or bad. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that, but it leaves our parks feeling sort of like they're leftovers in some sense. And you know, those are really valuable lots because they abut parkland. And I'm not sure that if we were to extend them to these neighborhood streets, does that add value to the park? Because then you have to worry about the kids playing in the street, you know. But it leaves me sort of unsettled, and so I'm not, you know, obviously again, I don't have a real opinion about it, but I think it is a concern of mine. Just that, are we ending up with parks that look like we really want them to look? And I'm not sure this is it. It's sort of the best. I think it's the best I can do right now, but I think I'd like to somehow be able to think about this a little more deeply. We have 11, I counted on our comp plan, we have 11 open space parks that we're going to have in the city when it's fully developed, long after I'm dead. But that's going to be it. You know, that we won't have any more parks than that when the city is fully developed, when Corcoran feels like Richfield, you know, or like Minneapolis.
Shh, don't say those things.
Well, you know, your grandchildren will see that day come, perhaps. I mean, who knows? But we need to think about that carefully. If you know, in Minneapolis, if the lakes, Lake Harriet has a little strip of parkland about 50 feet wide, and then there's a road, and then there's a little bit of parkland, or it's somebody's yard. And, you know, that's wonderful, but boy, it sure would have been nice if they'd done 100 feet or a little more space to begin with. Times were different then. And in a lot of cities, you go, the water has nice water features, have houses, backyards right up to that valuable waterfront property. So, you know, once you start down the road, it's hard to change. But I think we need to be careful and think about this carefully. Maybe not in response to a particular development, but just sort of in general. As we because we're going to get more of these. I mean, you know, development is hot, housing is hot these days. So I'm not quite, there's not much waterfront, but there is wetland front, you know, and wetland frontage is pretty cool because it gives you the really nice vista. And we're getting some trails in people's backyards at the edge of the wetland. And I don't know how that you know, I think that works out fine. We'll see. So anyway, that's, if there is a way to kind of study that without the pressure of a particular development, I think it would be well worth our time to do that. And I don't know if Brad or Jessica have any notions on how to do that. I would be a fan of spending some time doing that.
Yeah, I think that's really insightful, Tom. And I have a lot of the same feelings now looking at this. Paul and his team have done exactly what we've asked them to do.
Yep.
But I agree. I think we could really enhance our park standards to include some of those items. It's one thing to say 5 acres, but that 5 acres, period, versus 5 contiguous usable acres with, you know, buffers away from streets, but that are, you know, viewable from streets. That's all of a sudden a 10-acre need, which I think makes a really, really good 5-acre park. So I think if it's okay with the commission, maybe Jess, if you could put that on an upcoming agenda to review those standards, I think that would be a wise use of time.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Absolutely. Excellent foresight, Tom.
No kidding.
Okay, moving on to reports and information. Planning applications, information only. Any questions on any of the active planning applications that we got?
I had one. No, wait, where did I find it? Okay, someone else talk while I look. I could have sworn, where did I see it? I'm looking, you guys go ahead if someone else has one.
I don't.
Mine was under the council report, so we'll wait till we get to that.
Okay.
Kind of the same though, probably.
Okay, then we're on to the recreation coordinator update.
Okay, so things I've been working on, baseball. It's up and running. We kicked off the season. I held a coaches meeting. I coordinated and attended photo night. No, I did not get my picture taken, although I wanted to. I know, what a bummer. I
The
have
guy
been
actually
working.
wanted to photograph me. I was walking through the park and he's like, could I get you to like stand here for some lighting? And I'm like, no. I'm gonna keep walking.
You're like, no, thank you. I've been working with our city attorney and then the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension to make sure that we have the updated background check processes. So our coaches are vetted well. And I was sanitizing equipment on a weekly basis, as I told you guys I would do. With the updated guidance, I no longer have to do that. So I gotta admit, I'm a little grateful for that. That was
Really good.
time that I like to have back. Other things, I'm still the emergency operations center manager, so I'm updating a daily transfer of command. I'm attending meetings on a weekly basis still. I'm putting together your guys' parks and trails packets. I'm taking care of park amenity reservations, so the pavilion. I've got a couple of field reservations, but it's mostly pavilion. The Step to It challenge, so I can tell you that I believe only one of you is signed up for the Step to It challenge. If you guys want to sign up, it's not too late. You can still enter your steps. It's a really good opportunity for Corcoran to get some prizes. So that's kind of exciting. An additional thing that I wanted to note on this, Tom had emailed me earlier this week or late last week. It's been a busy week, so I'm not really sure, but he had recommended the potential of having a small gathering at the end of the Step to It challenge, just to kind of celebrate the people who did participate. He had some ideas of doing snacks and not so much awards, but certificates for maybe the youngest stepper, the most steps, etc., just to kind of provide some recognition. I will say, because this was a free program, that's why I got us involved in it. And the prizes that are provided through Hennepin County and the Minnesota Twins. That being said, I don't have any money budgeted for snacks. However, I could probably print off some certificates. I know we've got some card stock on hand, so
Woo!
if that's something that you guys would like me to look into further, I can do what I can. Go ahead.
Sorry, is that through the city of Corcoran? Do we sign up through the city of Corcoran? I missed that
So
part.
it's on the website. Otherwise, it's steptoit.org. So it's technically through Hennepin County, but the city is kind of who you're signing up under. It's a group.
And can it link to your Fitbit or anything like that, or do you have to just log in?
You do have to log them, which is kind of a bummer. I know that my Apple Watch, I've been entering them in daily and going that route, but it doesn't take too long. You can also, I play volleyball, and I can put that in, and you can transfer, or you can make those activities into steps. They have a little transitional thing. So
Diagram or whatever.
so if you guys want me to put together a end of the challenge celebration, I can definitely do that. But it was decided to leave that up to you guys. My fate.
Do you have a lot of people entered?
We have 15 participants.
Oh yeah, so then I would say probably no. That would be a little bit of an just spend
Unless
your time
you guys
doing that.
sign up.
If there was like 150, I would say yes, but I would say 15. You could send them out a little certificate in the mail, maybe.
I could probably do that.
Yeah.
You have a budget for stamps? I'm kidding.
I think it's under administrative.
I'm teasing you, darling.
Budget for stamps.
Well, then we will punt this year, but this was the first year, and we did get about 15 people, so I'm pretty excited about that. I think we'll probably end up getting more next year, similar to how fall baseball was the first year we ran that. So other things I'm working on, I am your guys' social media coordinator. So for the most part, with the exception of Jess and Brad when they post on occasion. So as far as the park postings that Phil had mentioned for spring, I could be the one in charge of that. I also update the Parks and Rec side of the website, as well as the Parks and Trails. I've been handling soccer registration. So every registration that comes in, I do vet. I make sure that if they say they're a Corcoran resident, I check that address and I go, yes, they are. If they say, hey, my kid was born in this year and we're putting them in this league, I check that, make sure that it's the appropriate league. So that takes a good amount of time, but it's definitely worth it when I'm going to make teams. Fall baseball, I just did the registration for that. Today I got it all set up, and that opens up on the 28th of June. And then the final thing to mention is the June commission meeting. We are looking to transition to in-person meetings.
Wow.
What?
So
I don't know if I can handle it.
the excitement.
No wearing PJs anymore.
So just to give you guys kind of that update, it looks like June 17th would be the meeting. So mark that on your calendars. You get to see everyone face to face, assuming that council votes on it and approves it.
Wow.
So can't wait to see your guys' smiling faces.
Otherwise, I don't have to screw around with this computer.
So in talking to Brad,
there's always gotta be one though.
It does sound like it could still be hybrid though, so people might still have the opportunity to join virtually. But as far as you guys are concerned, I think it was encouraged that you guys would be in person. And then I think, Brad, you said maybe 3 times a year could be virtual or something like that, but that was like the maximum that was appropriate. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's 3 times allowed with an authorized medical reason. It's a new law that they passed. I think it is somewhat vague, you know, if you have to be home to care for somebody, I think it would probably qualify, but 3 times per year, but after we go in person, you could attend, I guess, and listen in remotely otherwise, but your votes, you can't vote.
Okay.
So that's all I
Well-
have. If anyone has any questions, obviously I'm more than willing to answer, but
No question.
Gob.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do we
That's a
need
lot on your
proof of
plate, Jessica.
vaccination?
I got my V card.
Yeah, bring your card.
Nice.
Okay, let's see. City council report from Mayor McKee.
Thank you. So first off, I just wanted to apologize for not joining you guys on video. My French bulldog decided yesterday to jump on my computer and shatter it into pieces. So I'm working off a phone for the time being.
Sorry, Bob. I think it's kind of funny.
Oh, it was. After I was initially very angry, it was pretty.
Wow.
It was an old computer, so time to upgrade anyway. Just she decided it needed to be today. But lots going on in Corcoran, as you guys are all aware. Council, we've been, among other things, continuing to work on residential zoning district standards, and we're continuing to do that ahead of the June 10th Planning Commission joint meeting or joint work session. Let's see here. On the development side, we approved a preliminary plat for Franzen Estates. There was the big discussion and the denial of Cook Lake Highlands a couple meetings ago. We awarded low bid for the for 66th Avenue Gleason Parkway corridor improvements. We are going forward with a couple street improvements on Corcoran Trail East and West, and potentially Appaloosa in Appaloosa Woods, excuse me, which is kind of a big deal. There was a planning commission appointment for Mark Lanterman. I don't know if any of you have had the chance to meet Mark yet, but definitely shoot him a message, or once we're back in person, stop and say hi. He's a great guy. We're fed. What's that?
Is he new to the commission or is he reappointed?
New to the commission.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and we're excited to have him. Let's see here. Continuing on, let's see, a couple other things. Accepted a feasibility study for a couple bridge replacement projects, which are kind of a big deal. We directed staff to proceed with an ordinance update for the recreational vehicle ordinance, which I know his staff and Councilor Bodema in particular have put a lot of time into, and it seems like it's a much needed, and I'm really excited about the update to the code and kind of what it will allow. And one last thing of note, we authorized staff to enter into an agreement with Hennepin County for an embedded social worker with the police department. It's kind of a cool program that's, as far as I know, new. I don't know if anyone else has done it before really here. It'd be a split position with, I believe it's 7 other cities or so potentially. And the cost would be split between those cities and Hennepin County a bit. And it gives us access to that kind of position without immediately having to hire our own and pay a full-time, full position. So it's kind of a good test case a little bit to see if that's something that we find valuable to the community. And I think it's a cool idea. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. And that's about it. From the recent council meetings, we have a behemoth of a meeting coming up on next Thursday. So I'm sure I will have plenty for you next month's report.
I had a question. So
Yes.
the Cook Lake was denied. Are they still gonna
Correct.
do something there with adjustments or just a done deal?
I don't think that's been determined yet. I believe it's on the agenda to at an upcoming meeting to discuss, but I'm not sure what the potential changes would be if it were to come back to the council.
Gotcha. And
Was there anything else, Val?
oh, I'm sorry, were you waiting on me? No, I'm fine.
I
Thank
just,
you.
oh, okay. Thank you, Mayor McKee.
Thank you.
Sorry about that computer being chewed up.
Appreciate it.
I wish you had a video of it.
I should have. I was
Kick a man while he's
preparing
down.
that at the moment, but yeah, exactly.
Well, thank
Oh,
you.
man.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah. Okay, Garden Club report. Mr. Anderson.
Well, Garden Club is, it's not been, well, Garden Club did spring cleanup at the Memorial Garden. And it looks pretty good. A lot of those plants that we planted last fall are growing, which is always a good thing. It's never a certainty. And I think just about everything survived. And we did a fair amount of trimming. And so it looks much better over there. I've not been over there in the last couple of weeks, but it looks pretty good. And Garden Club members also volunteered to do the tree giveaway. And that went about as smooth as it has ever gone. So
I was wondering why you never called me. I was like, I volunteered. I said I would do it, but he never called me.
we got going, and it was good. So Jessica does the order page. We had a couple people who somehow managed to get orders for 1 tree instead of 5, but we'll work on that for next year.
And we're gonna start backwards in the alphabet next year, so they don't get screwed.
The order, the trees are always high quality, but we got shorted on a couple of the bundles. They're supposed to send 25, and one was as small as 20. And so that means that there are people who don't get their trees, but
The Hoffmans next time. It's okay. We'll live.
yeah, well, yeah.
We're running out of places to plant
I
trees.
know, okay.
So short the Hoffmans.
but they're all gone. I think I've got 2 orders left at my house, and I don't think anybody's going to claim them. So one of them,
We'll take them.
they said, okay, if they come up, I put them in dirt for a little while ago. I don't know. One of them looks to be not sprouting. Otherwise, but I'll let you know if any of the others are coming up. So it's good. But that was a good time. So the Garden Club needs to kind of fire up again here, but it'll happen, I hope.
Yes, we shall.
Thank you.
Okay. Park Dedication Fund. Any questions or comments?
I don't think there's any changes since the last one, if that helps.
Okay. Other business announcements? None. The liaison calendar. Is everyone good with that?
I have a conflict on the
Okay.
24th. I'd like to trade, if anyone's willing.
Can you do the 10th, Phil?
Let me check 1 second.
Wait a minute, Tom, when's that big meeting?
Yeah, it's the next one. Alicia gets it.
Okay, just checking. Oh, we're good.
I have a conflict. I got a conflict too.
No.
The 10th I can do, so.
Yeah, because I'm possibly out of town in that area, so if you want to
Okay.
switch, I can do the 24th.
Yeah, let's plan on that.
Okay.
Great.
Val, you're such a good switcher.
Yeah. We made it out easy.
Gumby.
You just have to remind the person that you switch with, because I remember last time I switched with you, I forgot that I switched with you.
Okay. Everyone else good?
Yep.
All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn then.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
second?
Yep. I second.
Okay. Roll call vote. Anderson,
Aye.
Christensen,
Aye.
Hoffman,
Hi.
Meister, aye, Nybo,
Aye.
and Streller.
Aye.
Okay. 8:11. Nice job, everyone.